Oi, what's up? Welcome to DMK Wrestling with me, Darkman Kwakpo, and today I'm going to be giving predictions for WWE Day 1. Let's go. Okay, so WWE Day 1, the first pay-per-view of 2022, I almost said 2021 right there, happening tonight in the US. Well, technically it will be tomorrow morning in the UK or in Ghana, anywhere that's a little behind or ahead of the US. I don't know, time is a very weird concept to explain. But there are 8 matches on the card, 1 on the pre-show and 7 on the main show. And let's start with the main one. I have to hold the script because I really don't remember some of them. But we are starting with a pre-show match that is Cesaro and Ricochet going up against Sheamus and Holland. Now, given that this is a pre-show match, I would expect it to be somewhere within the 15-minute mark, if not between 10 to 15 minutes or less than 2, which WWE is accustomed to doing with certain feuds, not building stories and not getting us to be invested in the story. It's kind of hard to get invested with stories, especially with the way they've been firing people in the last year. Hopefully, none of that happens this year. And whilst the team of Cesaro and Ricochet is a very interesting pairing considering the technical style of Cesaro and the high-flying ability of Ricochet, Sheamus and Holland are a bit more of the story over here, and so based on that I would expect them to get the W, but I do expect this to be a fun match. This brings us to our main card. We are doing RK Bro versus the Street Profits for the Raw Tag Team Championships. This is going to be a very interesting match. So we know that a few weeks ago on Raw they started the whole RK Bro-nament with tag teams involved to get a shot at the Raw Tag Team Championships and be the #1 contenders, and the Street Profits won that on the very recent episode of Monday Night Raw. So you have the whole story with Riddle and Randy Orton and the potential breakup that we know is coming. In the post-match celebration, we saw Randy Orton attempt to hit an RKO on Riddle before psyching him out and giving him a hug. We know those seeds are being planted, and we just expect it. Overall, if this is the opening match, I do expect it to be very good, and I do expect Randy Orton and Riddle to retain the titles. The Street Profits will give them a run for their money. And then the feud between Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss. Now, oh boy. And this feud has been abysmally built. Like, there's been everything from performance issue jokes to Sword of the Stone jokes to it's a whole mess. Now, in my mind, it will make sense if Madcap Moss won, especially on interference from Corbin, but it kind of is playing out in my head the same way Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal went down at SummerSlam. Even though he had Shanky in his corner, he still lost and it was still sword oriented, so I'll give the win to Drew McIntyre. Next match, we have the Usos going against the New Day. Tale as old as time, this will be a great match. Now, this feud has been set up quite well, I would say, especially if you look back to just before Survivor Series, where Xavier Woods, or no, King Woods, I should say, went up against Roman Reigns and actually defeated him via disqualification. And then taking Kofi Kingston out by hurting his knee for him to come back just a few weeks ago. It's a good story. I see that this is going to be a banger. I mean, the Usos and the New Day have been doing this for years, but ultimately I would expect the Usos to retain. And then we come to the Miz and Edge, which has been I say it's okay. I mean, we're kind of waiting for Edge to feud with AJ Styles. That would be a banger of a match at WrestleMania if that does happen. But practically in a number of days, the story has become Miz trying to get revenge on Edge because he bathed he and Maryse in a brood bath on Raw. Now, I'm not saying I'm against brood baths. I actually like seeing them. They're pretty cool. Not that I would ever take one. But with this story, I kind of see Miz winning due to shenanigans from Maryse, although Edge is like the crafty veteran who should be able to avoid even distractions. It's kind of hard to gauge, I don't know, but let me just give the win to the Miz because we've seen that happen in the past. If you remember the feud with Daniel Bryan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then we come to the match between Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan for the Raw Women's Championship. Now, I'll just say this out of the bat, I don't think Becky Lynch is losing that title until at least WrestleMania, but this feud has it's had its good moments and it's had its weird moments, to say the least. So you have Liv Morgan, who is rising through the ranks very quickly and is one of the most sentimental favorites we have seen in recent times in the women's division, going up against Becky Lynch. Now, the story has been kind of set up from years ago in the midst of the pandemic. Well, it's kind of crazy to say that the pandemic started 2 years ago. But basically, we have a situation where Becky Lynch, who is the heel, is not getting booed. Liv Morgan is rather in that position, which is weird because Becky Lynch in their matches has been very much of a heel. I mean, in their first match for the Raw Women's Championship on Monday Night Raw, Becky Lynch practically grabbed the ropes to pin Liv Morgan, and Liv's promos have been nothing to write home about. I mean, I don't know what they're doing there. It doesn't make too much sense to me why they would give her some of the lines they're giving her where she's coming across as a heel. By the way, in my mind, it's become a little impossible for Liv Morgan to actually win the championship from Becky Lynch and actually make it believable as it would have been the first time had she won. And for that basis, I'm giving the win to Becky Lynch. Moving on, we have the WWE Fatal 4-Way match between Big E, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and the almighty Bobby Lashley. I think the build for this has been quite good, although it kind of started a few months back. So it started with Seth Rollins winning a contract in a ladder match on Raw, so he was going to become the sole contender to Big E's WWE Championship at day one. Then Kevin Owens found a way to insert himself in the picture, got himself a title opportunity. Then a few weeks ago, Bobby Lashley, who looks like he's starting to go on a babyface run, which I would absolutely love to see, got into the mix. He won 3 consecutive matches against Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and then Big E. But in any case, the real story has been Kevin Owens, because he's had those contract negotiations going down and he has re-signed with WWE, and maybe WWE might want to reward him for staying with the company. But, and this is going to be a spoiler alert, so if you don't want to hear anything potentially spoilery, you can skip past this to the next match I will review. About a month or two ago, I recall seeing an ad advertising all 4 men in this match in a Fatal 4-Way match happening in March, I think as a dark match, for the WWE Championship, and Big E was the WWE Champion. Now this could be a misdirect, I don't know, anything could happen, but in any case, it does look like Big E will retain. But I wouldn't be surprised if something went down and Kevin Owens became WWE Champion, but per what I've seen, I think I want to go with Big E. He's well into his reign as WWE Champion, and I think he should be given a little more time. And then arguably one of the biggest matches of the year already happening on the first day of 2022, well, kind of the second day in 2022 if you are here. But we have the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns, going up against Farmer Boy Brock Lesnar. And this is about 4 or 5 months of build. We kind of knew this would happen at some point. Granted, Paul Heyman associated himself with Roman Reigns when he came back in 2020. Fast forward to Brock Lesnar returning at SummerSlam and everything that's been going on with Paul Heyman and his loyalties, to what happened at Crown Jewel, which was a pretty good match, but the finish was something else. And then 2 weeks ago, you have Roman Reigns firing Paul Heyman. Now, these could be shenanigans. I don't know what's going on. It could be kind of what happened in 2001 or 2000, I believe. Rock, Stone Cold, Mr. McMahon. It's kind of a hard feud to try to remember and explain. But the point is, I smell shenanigans. Ultimately, I think that Roman Reigns will win this match. Now, I don't know where the story will go. There are rumors that they may have a match at WrestleMania. There's rumors that The Rock may return. It's all over the place, but ultimately, I would expect the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the Universal Champion Roman Reigns, to retain his title. Alright, and that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. Push your comments down below. Let me know what you think about the Day 1 pay-per-view and about this video. Give it a like. Follow me on my social media handles. Follow my main channel, Darkman Kwakpo, and subscribe to this channel. I would really appreciate it. My name has been John Andrew, or Darkman Kwakpo. I don't know, you can call me anything. I will see you guys very soon in another video. Tomorrow we will be breaking down Day 1, so stick out for that. I will see you guys very soon. Take care. Bye.